Hey guys, it's Seanbot back with a new episode in our free-to-play series. Merry Christmas to you all. This is probably going to be my last video in 2020, and as it gets closer to the new year, I tend to reflect on my year. Definitely YouTube has been a big part of this year and I've had a lot of fun. Thank you all for making this journey possible. I'm planning for this series to continue, so I hope you all continue to join me. Anyways, let's get on with the video. So in this episode, I start preparing my mid-game gearing on my Kana. I have enough drop gear for the moment, so the focus is on getting some more damage, so that I'm able to farm and train as well as fight harder bosses for the better rewards. I bought an Abslab shoe and glove for this purpose, and with that, I have my full Abslab set. So the main thing today was that I started to get some training equips for my Ho Young to level up more efficiently. If you have epic potential scrolls to spare, I will try get 6% stat on these equips for better damage. After all, better damage means easier training, right? And that means more EXP. I wanted to train with a budget, so this is the training set that I settled for. I managed to sell my unique Spectrum goggle for 250ml, which I had in my inventory for a long time. In the previous episode, I bought a drop goggle for 2.2 bill with the profit I made from my tier up, so I decided to sell the Spectrum goggle in my inventory. Note that I bought this way back for 100ml, so I still ended up making some profit over time. Now as always, I had a nice and relaxing spell tracing, star forcing and cubing session. On each of these equips, I used 70% scrolls, got 10 stars on them, and cubed them all for 3% stat in the rare potential. I didn't think you guys would want to see the whole session recorded, so jumping to the results, here it is. I got lucky with the cape and it tiered to epic potential with occult cubes. The Blackgate equips that I have were bought when they were unique, so yeah, that's my damage range. I reckon about 200 to 300k range is generally enough to level a character to 200. You should be able to 2-shot or 3-shot most monsters with that, and that's okay. Getting this character to 500k range did not really fit my budget range. Nothing too special today. I revived my pet using the concentrated water of life. Those revive your pets for 270 days, whereas Cash Out Water of Life only revives pets for 90 days. And also, I thought you could be able to revive Puffram with this technique, but yeah, unfortunately you can't. I also managed to sell a well-flamed condensed power crystal from Zakim. He had 5% all stat and 20 dex. Make sure to look at what the flame of the drops are. People actually want those for training characters. I'm planning on stocking up badly flamed ones and fuse them using alchemy to try and get some better flames. In the clip before, I expanded my inventories with a selective inventory expansion from the Wake Shop. Stock up on them. You get 15 per account, but my god, it helped with my quality of life so much. Today's payday, baby, yay. Speaking of pay, I often get asked how I make mesos and that some people struggle to follow my way of making mesos. Well, the brunt of my mesos actually just comes from dailies. Ursus gives me 15 mil a day, Maple Tour gives me 9 mil a day, and Intense Power Crystals give me 10 mil a day. That's 35 mil I'm just getting from doing my dailies. If you do that for a whole month, that's 1 bill that you're getting just from doing your basic dailies. Things like Juniper farming, selling superior item crystals, rebirth fragments, etc. That stuff is just extra on top. But it's so important that you get into the habit of doing dailies every day to build a steady income. Opportunities like what I did in the last episode where I got 1 bill profit, those aren't really things that you'll find very frequently. People who earn 1 bill a day work that much harder to earn it. They're able to find their own creative method to make mesos and monopolize on that. So they definitely deserve it. Rushing the process will only burn you out and make you want to quit. So I'm taking it real slow with this series. But as I said, 35 mil a day is enough for me and I can abuse events or opportunities as it comes. I think that's the right kind of mindset that you want for this game. For those of you who were following my clips, today was a boss pre-quest kind of day. I did my pre-quest for Arcarum, Von Leon, Papulatus and Pink Bean. I used a hyper teleport rock from the Awake Shop to speed up the process, and it took only about 2 hours to complete all the quests, so definitely not too bad. I have a live clip from Twitch coming up, and that was a lot of hype, so here it is. I'm just gonna first cube my fan. Nope, no tier up. Let's try to tier this guy up. Legendary. Nope. No. Oh my. Oh my gosh. Oh. gosh. Oh. Guys, Aim and Bob is good luck. Make sure to have this guy in the same map as you whenever you want a cube. Thank you. Oh my gosh. Okay, surely if I get 20% drop next to you, like that'll be really insane. Oh my. What? What? Oh. What? Ah. Oh my gosh. Oh. This is beautiful. Oh. And that's how I got my next jockey piece. Today was 30% off Star Forcing cost, and I noticed the prices of Sweetwater Monocles going from 150ml to 250ml today. People need those because they boomed their Monocles from Star Forcing, so I jumped right in. I bought 3 of them and sold them. Unfortunately, the prices started declining as I listed it up, so I sold it for much lower. I think the lowest one ended up only selling for 170ml. I also got my Ho-Yang to level 200 today and got my 5th job, then went through the Vanishing Journey storyline. My opinions of Ho-Yangs hasn't really changed as of yet. They are extremely fun, bursty and mobile, but the clunkiness from their buffing system still turns me off. But I did promise to get these potential main candidates to level 210 to hopefully change my mind, so I kept going. I also transferred over the tradable drop gear from my Kana to pick up node stones and farm cubes from bosses daily. I didn't have a familiar, so I used a 20-minute Legion drop coupon as a substitute every day. These goddamn arcane symbols, they're bleeding me dry. I felt my damage on my Ho-Yang was still very lacking, especially grinding to level 210. I wanted to at least be able to 2-shot Vanishing Journey monsters, so I bought some Blackgate rings from the auction house. Oh yeah, I forgot to record that. Generally, the most cost efficient way of increasing your damage on a meal is just by filling up the equips with anything that gives 3% stat. It all adds up. The only equips that I usually want epic are the weapon, secondary and emblems. Those are relatively more important to increasing damage. I guess I have some time here to talk about what I've been thinking about in terms of progressing on my Kana. My plan is to use a transpose hammer system to get my Absolute gear to 17 stars. This system allows you to transfer the potential up to epic and the stars from one equip to another that's up to 10 levels above, deducting only 1 star in the process. So if I want to transfer hammer a 10 star level 140 hat, I can only transfer hammer that to a level 150 hat, but will end up with 9 stars, not 10. Also, if you transfer hammer a unique equip, it will downgrade to epic in the process. The benefit of using this system is that you won't run the risk of booming your equips. Absolute equips are 300ml each, and booming even one of them is tragic, so this system will remove that risk. Also, Star Forcing at lower levels is cheaper than Star Forcing at high levels as well. With this, the best way to transfer hammer is to Star Force an equip to 15 stars using the 30% off Star Forcing event, and then use the 5, 10, 15 event to get it to 16 stars. Transfer hammer to get a 15 star Absolute equip, and then use the 5, 10, 15 event again to get it to 16 stars. You run a very low risk getting a 16 star Absolute equip this way. Oh, before I keep talking about that, I got my event damage skin here. I decided I'm going to get more and use a free damage skin extraction from the event shop to save 3 or 4 of them to sell later on after this event is over. But back to the topic, I missed the 30% Star Force event yesterday, but I'm not that fussed about it because we get 10 minutes of 30% Star Force in the next part of the Wake patch. My aim is to use that event to hopefully get the equips that I'm eventually going to use the transfer hammer to 15 stars, and then use a spell trace fever in a week to get my Absolute gear perfectly traced using 70% scrolls, and then use a 5, 10, 15 event next month to get a 16 star Absolute set. With that, I should be able to farm pretty efficiently and clear all the daily bosses to get the optimal 15 mil per week from the intense power crystals. So yeah, that's the plan. I trained my Ho-Yang to level 201 to 50% and then use the goddess potions to get to level 202. Make sure to activate them after you receive them. For now, I'm equipping this awake damage skin. It looks pretty nice. The reason I want to mass these and extract these is because I feel like unit damage skin will be the future meta for damage skins. There's only been 3 released, the basic, paper ribbon and this. Paper Ribbon doesn't really count to me because you can only get it from Philosopher's Book. So to me, this Awake damage skin is actually the second accessible unit damage skin. Hoarding these could be a good investment for the future when this event is over. Who knows when next time we'll give these damage skins back. I said earlier that I'm preparing to transition to mid game, so I bought a bunch of spell traces to help me do so. I have 2 slots left on my weapon to 15%, so I hope next spell trace fever time will be enough to complete that. Also, I will use the spell trace fever time to also 70% all my Abslab and Chaos Root Abyss armors. It has a 95% success rate during fever time, and if your diligence is over level 50, that's a 100% chance. I somehow leached my way to first rank in Ursus again. For those of you who don't have damage, the easiest way to get more points in Ursus is just to rescue people. I found that gives a lot more points than DPS. Here, I'm buying all the equips for the transfer hammer. I'm making sure to buy them all epic potential so that my Abslabs will become epic after transfer hammering them. Finding epic pencilly equips is pretty easy, but since they're level 140 equips, you might ask, this only transfer hammers to level 150, right? Yes, that's correct. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to also be looking for level 150 equips to transfer hammer their pencilly into them, and then into the Abslabs. For capes, I'll use an Enraged Zaken cape. For shoulders, I'll use a Japanese shoulder. For shoes, I'll use a Root Abyss shoes, and for gloves, I'll also use a Root Abyss gloves. Also note that you can transfer hammer an overall to either a top or bottom and vice versa. You also don't need to have the same class equips to transfer hammer them. So for example, a pirate overall can transfer hammer to a thief top. In this episode, I'm only going to be getting my transfer hammer equips to 15 stars, but not actually transfer hammering them. So I'm calling this part 1 of the mid game gearing. There's a bit of blur in the line between early, mid, late and end game. This is just my definition. But before I talk about that, I just need to make this commentary here. I decided to equip the Abslab fan that I've been working on. The Awake event gives us a 17 star Karma Starforce scroll for level 160 equips or below. So Abslab equips are the most cost efficient equips to use it on. Karma scrolls only work for untradeable equips anyways, so I have to equip my Abslab fan to make it untradeable. My Fafnir fan will be also used later on in the transfer hammering process, so I won't chuck it out for now. By the way, if it's getting difficult to understand the transfer hammering system by the way I explain it, maybe look up on it yourself, or yeah, maybe shoot a question or wait a few episodes when I do the actual transfer hammering and you guys can follow it in the Starforce events after. But anyways, back to how I define the progression points. I define the early game as when you get to 6% stat on filler equips. That means all your slots in your equipment are filled with the general 6% epic potential gears. Mid-game, so the part that I'm currently transitioning into, is generally when you get Abslab equips and Golos equips, so the best in slot equips, but also only at 6%. Late game is generally when you scroll them all properly, 17 star them, and also get them to 15 star stat, unique or legendary. Now, for end game, it gets a bit tricky here. So it depends on which path you want to take. You can either go with the Abslab progression, which is much easier to get 22 star, or Arcane progression, which is much more expensive but has a higher ceiling than Abslabs. In either case, endgame is when you get them to 22 stars, 27% plus stat, and also primed. Everyone has a different definition of these progression points, but this is just roughly what I think. So although I call this a mid game, the ordering I'm going with is slightly unconventional due to the transfer hammer system. Mid game is a pretty temporary state that people stay in only for a short period of time. The next time I'll use a transfer hammer system is when I get my Golos equips done, and then much later when I go for 22 stars. Unfortunately, my Kana will not reach endgame because it's not the main class in my series, but hopefully my main character will reach that point sometime. I've waited ages for a scroll extractor to extract all the rebirth flames that I've gotten from bosses. I spent 20 minutes here extracting all my rebirth flames and got 1300 of them, and that's 170 mil that I'm going to be pocketing. The clips before of my star forcing was during this event where we hold an item for 1 hour and then we get 10 minutes of star forcing, so I have a few more sessions left. Rather than showing the entire star force sessions, I will just skip to my live reaction to them succeeding. 3, 2, 1, stop. Ah, yes. Second piece. Oh. I really should have mentioned this earlier before I started to rant about progression, but I started with 2.6 bill mesos and I put on the very top how much mesos I've spent for each equip. Star forcing is a big meso sink, but it'll be worth it later on. I've done 3 equips and I'm on 1.5 bill now, so I've spent 1.1 bill so far. I finally got to level 205 on my Hoyoung, so you know what that means. Reverse City, baby. Ooh, I finally got my Awake ring today. I'm going to be working on this guy and try get it to unique with all the boss master cubes I get and use the eventual mesos to get it to legendary. I would suggest people to do that as well. I find it a big waste trying to use mesos to tier something to unique. Also, this isn't the best in slot ring. The best in slot rings that most people can get are generally the solid, reinforced and superior goalless ring, as well as the Meister ring. I mean, if you had the Breath of Divinity ring, that would replace the solid ring, but that ring itself is worth a few grands, so most people would not be able to get that. Since it's not a best in slot ring, most people would eventually use this as a drop ring anyways, so keep that in mind. Also, since that ring isn't ever tradable, I would put that on a very low priority to use normal Meister cubes on. Resale value means so much to me because there's extra opportunity there. If there is no resale value, the item is theoretically worthless because you can't sell it. That's the reason why I use the Meister cubes on my Black 8 rings instead, because at least it's tradable with Titanenses of Karmas.
Oh yes. Yes. Oh. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's start. 3, 2, 1, start. Hey, easy. I was like 100 mil. Okay, just not gonna play the game. Okay, so not playing the game is the right idea. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna play the game. I'm gonna pass it. I'll pass it. Oh, I failed it. Nah, I passed. It's okay. I passed. No. No. That's the worst case scenario. Oh, I have 47 seconds. No, boomed. Oh, it's 11 stars. 3, 2, 1. Hey. And with that, I have my full set ready to transfer hammer in the next 5, 10, 15 event in mid-January. That means I need to start getting some more mesos to fund my star forcing session. Ideally, I would want to get all my equips to 16 stars, at least. And if I have leftover mesos, go for 17 stars. The rest of this video is basically just showing my training highlights with my Hoyoung, so getting it to level 208 at 50%, and also picking up this nice CRA bottom for the transfer hammer. That's the end of this video. I'm sorry, I wanted to get this video out 2 days ago, but the Cube of Equality cash shop sale was huge, and I hopped on my main and spent 40 bill in this event over the weekend. I got almost every accessory to hybrid, meso and drop. Hope you guys also got lucky with this event. I'm hoping to continue this somewhat weekly upload, so I hope to see you guys in the next episode. I hope you all have a fabulous Christmas and a happy new year. Thanks!